To Beaver Sports Talk along the Beaver Sports Radio Network. Great to have you with us on this Tuesday night. Our thanks to Jane Ivey from the crew team joining us. Jay John will be along a little bit later to talk about the Beavers' trip to the Bay Area in men's basketball. And, of course, the Bay Area schools coming to Corvallis Thursday night, 7 o'clock. The Stanford Cardinal, a top 10 team. It's a Phil Gill night with all tickets just $1 for the game against Stanford on Thursday night at 7, then California on senior farewell night, Saturday night at 7. And to preview the weekend ahead, look back a little bit about the trip to the desert, it's our pleasure to welcome to Beaver Sports Talk Oregon State women's basketball coach LaVonda Wagner. Good evening, Coach.
Good evening.
Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
First of all, before we talk about the weekend ahead, just your thoughts about the team and how well the good things that happened for you down in the desert. Two very competitive games against good teams on the road, which, again, to me, I don't know what, when you break things down in terms of measuring progress and growth in your team, it looked like you had steps in both of those directions this weekend in the desert.
Absolutely. I mean, the Arizona game, we were in that game right down to the last shot, obviously, and we didn't take care of the basketball like we should have the last 5 minutes of the game. We led pretty much the entire game to the last 5 minutes, and, it's all about possession basketball with us, and unfortunately, we've had some young women that have played a lot of minutes, and we weren't able to execute going down the end, and we gave them the ball back, and they were able to convert those turnovers into points, and we came up on the short end of the stick. But I tell you, we saw a lot of good things with the team that we have this season and their ability to go on the road and compete. And then we go to Tempe, and we play Arizona State, who's ranked in the top 10, 8, I believe, in the rankings, and it was their senior night. So they had about 5,000 people, and they played really well, very aggressive, intense basketball, and we got in some foul trouble. So I'm looking on the floor, and I have 4 freshmen and a sophomore in Mercedes Fox Griffin running the point, and we pretty much held our own, and they pressed us for 40 minutes full court, and we were able to be competitive and stay right in there with them, and that to me is a sign of the future of this program.
When you looked out and saw 4 freshmen and Mercedes at the same time, maybe this is as good a time as any to talk about what those 4 and the other freshmen in the program, what you feel they've learned, the things you've been most pleased in watching their seasons develop.
Well, there's experience is the best teacher, and these freshmen have came into this Pac-10 situation by necessity and had to play a Pac-10 schedule. And I'm not talking about 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. I'm talking about some of them 30 minutes or more, some of them 20 minutes or more, and been in very critical points of the game. And what they've gained from that is some confidence. What they've gained from that is the ability to grow. And I constantly talk about learn a lesson or it will repeat itself, and they've got to be able to think on the floor. Basketball is a game just like any sport. The momentum swings, and you've got to be able to think. And I think the biggest thing that these freshmen have learned is to be able to think in pressure situations. But because we have no depth this year, everybody's that has been pressing us for court, and they've had to be able to execute under a tremendous amount of pressure and do that with after playing for so many minutes. And I think that's the biggest thing that they've learned. The second thing is they've had to learn how to stay in the game, and what I mean by that is they can't get distracted, and that's the one thing I see them getting better at. The one thing that we need to do a better job of is when they get tired, they tend to lose sight of what we're trying to do, and that's just the way it is. It's a very long, grueling season. These young women are a year away from being in high school.
Very true. If you have any questions or comments along the way tonight for Coach Wagner on the Beaver Sports Radio Network, the Dutch Bros Sports Line available toll-free at 877-600-6433, 877-600-6433. We will get to the games this weekend and certainly talk about the great contributions that both Casey Nash and Ebony Young have made in working hard in this program and certainly doing themselves and the university proud. We'll do that as we go tonight with the coach. But a little bit more on the future and the things you're excited about when you see the lessons you talk about your team is learning and growing in. On an individual basis, have you seen a player or two really take huge leaps in both of those areas in terms of understanding what it is you're trying to do and keeping poise in pressure situations. Have you seen anyone in particular a light go on during the course
Well, there's
of the
been a lot of light bulbs go on this year, every single day. And I think from the standpoint of Mercedes Fox-Griffin, who is our point guard and averages about 37 minutes a game as a sophomore and didn't really get a lot of game experience last year, she's pretty much like a freshman. To her to be ranked in the top 5 in the nation in assists is just mind-boggling. And she's been able to do that over the long haul. These minutes are starting to wear on her a little bit. She's starting to cough up the ball a bit more. But, she's a tremendously improved player. Casey Nash, what do you say about that young woman? She was our 4th option last year. This year she's our 1st, and she's leading the conference in scoring and getting double-teamed and triple-teamed. And they're not layups that she's shooting, and she's been battling a lot of nagging injuries and just, continues to step up and battle and fight. And, and I could go on and on. I mean, these young women have exceeded people's expectations, but they haven't exceeded their own. And I think that's pretty impressive.
We will take a quick break. If you'd like to join Coach Wagner tonight here at McMenamin's on Monroe via the Dutch Bros Sports Line, any comments about Casey's career, about the seniors, about what you've seen as a fan this year, any questions for the coach along the way, give us a call, toll free, 877-600-6433, 877-600-6433, and be sure to get your tickets for Phil Gill Night, the Beavers in Stanford, Thursday, 7 o'clock at Gill Coliseum. We'll take a break. More coming up with Coach Wagner on the Beaver Sports Radio Network.
Okay, no one's claiming these tickets. Some quality prizes y'all are letting go. So, come on now. Okay, I don't know what we're giving away on this one. Hey, Jay. Let's see. Is it a car? Oh, no, it's a T-shirt. 2720. 2720. 2720 wins a gorgeous T-shirt.
Welcome back to Beaver Sports Talk from McMenamin's on Monroe on the Beaver Sports Radio Network. And a couple of questions in-house for Coach Wagner tonight. And again, if you have any questions or comments via the Dutch Bros Sports Line, toll free, 877-600-6433, 877-600-6433. Izzy asks a very good question. Given that your team is undersized, underaged, underdogs, how do you consistently get such an unbelievable effort?
Well, when you're undersized and underage, you better have unbelievable effort in order to compete. And so I'm very fortunate that I have a team that believes in that, and they've been able to compete in every game that we've been in. Unfortunately, our record doesn't indicate how hard that they work and how they play together as a team. But I think, that's what we emphasize is who we are. We have to be able to play as a team, and we have to all give everything that we have in order to compete. And hopefully at the end of the game, we can come out and be successful.
Question from Randy in-house here at McMenamins. Your team has 2 Pac-10 wins away from Gill or on the road and have played well away from Gill. And he asked, do they feel more comfortable playing on the road?
Well, Randy, when you have 9 players and 5 of them are freshmen and 1 of them are a transfer student who's just now playing for you, they don't understand there's no place like home yet, but hopefully they will pretty soon.
Now, speaking of that, no place like home Thursday. Stanford, 7 o'clock, Phil Gill, all remaining tickets just $1, so a huge crowd would be a great boon to your team.
Absolutely, and we played Stanford very tough at their place, led at the half by 11. They're ranked in the top 10, and unfortunately they woke up in the second half, and we lost to them by 14. But last year we lost to them, averaged by 35 points, so it was a good turnaround for us with a group of young kids that had never played there before.
Yeah, as you watched your team build that 11-point lead on the road at Stanford, before you say they woke up and got after it, whatever else, you're still playing one of the best teams in the country. You're 10, 11 points ahead. What was your team doing during that stretch?
Well, we were executing our stuff, and we were running a lot of screens, and we have to have the ability to get people open because we don't create a lot of things for ourselves. And they were really having a hard time guarding our screens, and we were knocking down shots. And we got more than one look. In the second half, we got one look, and we gave them 3, and they knocked down some key 3-pointers. But we still battled and battled. We just ran out of gas. We don't have a lot of depth, and so we ran out of gas. But it was a great effort by the young women, and they battled, and we had opportunity at the end. It just didn't go our way.
I know you can't fret or worry or concern yourself with what other teams are doing. I've read in the San Francisco press this week that Candace Wiggins may not play. It's a fairly severe sprained ankle in the last game against Washington. But if she doesn't, they have other options, don't they? They're good.
Candace Wiggins is special. She's a special player. Obviously, I know her very well, recruited her when I was at Duke, and she can do so many things well. She hits the deep 3. She can take you off the dribble. She can rebound. She can run the point. She can run the 2-guard, 3-guard. She's a bona fide, back-to-back All-American. But they will miss her. There's no question about that. But they have other good players on their bench, and our job is just we don't worry about what other people do. We have to be concerned about ourselves.
Then Saturday, the final home game with the California Golden Bears, another ranked team, another good team, another team
Absolutely.
You played well in Berkeley. What do you remember most about that game that you might, talk to your team
about? What I remember most is at 3:14, we're down by 2, and Casey Nash fouled out. That's what I remember the most. And obviously, when she went out, it changed the whole complexity of the team, and we still fought, we still battled. We ended up having to foul at the end to get the ball back, and that stretched the lead to 6 points. But, again, they have the best post tandem in the conference. There's no question. And we tried to double off of them, and they were able to get the ball out and knock down shots, or they were able to score it at the rim with their 6'4" post player who's first team all Pac-10. And so, again, we stepped up, we battled, and we came out on the other side of that.
Both games at 7 o'clock this weekend. Stanford Thursday night, Cal on Saturday. Again, Phil Gill both days, but certainly a great promotion available with all GA tickets, which is all that remains. Just $1 for Thursday night's game at 7. And these last 2 home games now, we talked a little bit about Casey. In fact, a lot about her all year long. But these last 2 home games for 2 seniors, always a special time for a coach, for a program, for fans. What are your thoughts about these 2 young women?
I really just want to thank them and thank them for buying into the program, for working hard and being great representatives of our program. And I think the biggest thing, Ebony Young hasn't seen the floor a lot, but she's had knee surgeries, 2 of them back to back, and she struggles with her lateral movement. But she does a lot of things off the floor that we need, and she sits at the end of the bench. She's very positive. She's very encouraging to her teammates when they come off, and she's a great voice in practice. Casey Nash, what do you say about her? She's just been phenomenal, great leadership. We talked about this a lot last year, how she was going to have to lead this team, and she wasn't sure how she was going to do that. And we did spend a lot of time together, and there were a lot of tears. Trust me, a lot of tears. But she's really stepped up and done a really nice job.
Well, I know fans are looking forward to seeing them play 2 more times and see Casey in uniform twice more. And, Casey has been around here a while. She's a 5th-year player. I think people have gotten to know her family. I mean, her family, they're great Oregon State people.
Well, they're Oregonians. They're 45 minutes down the road in Staten, and they're at every game, and they're at every away game as well, even last year as a junior. And, she's just been phenomenal, and she represents Oregon State very, very well.
And we're going to miss her, but you don't need to miss these games this weekend. It's Stanford Thursday at 7, Cal Saturday at 7. Coach, go get them. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. LaVonda Wagner joining us here at McMenamin's on Monroe, Beaver Sports Talk. Coach John to talk about the weekend past and the Beaver men's trip to the Bay Area. That's coming up next on the Beaver Sports Radio Network.